Justin, how big of a reset is this for you?
Yeah. Last Monday, we sat in our team meeting, and we looked at a Monday ago before Charlotte, and there really wasn't a clear path to get even one of the two junior motorsports cars into the final four or final eight, and then to have Charlotte go the way that it did, to get two in, to have three total, and then to reset as a point leader. You're just like, I think it's a dream. I'm ready to wake up and that not to be the case, but at the same time, it's been a rough stretch of 6-8 weeks before Charlotte, and not that Charlotte was great, but Charlotte was a great example of execution. Right, we got to where we needed to get to. We got to the end of the race, and we had done what we needed to do points wise. And Jim told me, he said, just sit where you're at. Don't try to race anybody. Just don't wreck, right? Don't go off the racetrack. Don't make mistakes. And I think that's it's a great spot to be in, right? Because I'm looking ahead of me and I'm calculating points in my head, and I'm like, oh, any of the four guys that are behind us right now could go win this race, and it doesn't affect us making it to the next round. So, really a relief, stressful handful of weeks, but at the same time, I think that they played it on TV last week. Jim talked about pressure making diamonds, right? And he said he was honored to be in this position because pressure is a privilege, and it's really true. And I think sometimes you learn more about yourself and your team when you go through those moments than you do whenever everything's going your way. And these last 6 weeks have kind of done that for us, and it's nice to come out here to Vegas and have a fresh start and be able to kind of go after it and just go for it.
With Zach, and then we'll go right.
Zach Sterling on NASCAR.com. Justin, obviously week on is going to be hanging it up at the end of this season. You've been stable of this series for a while now. What interactions have you had with him, and what has he and his involvement meant to the Xfinity Series garage?
Well, I had him as a truck series competitor also, as a competition director. Wayne is somebody that I'll be sad when Wayne's gone, because not that there aren't good people in the wings that can take that role, but Wayne's been a staple of this sport for so many years, and the thing that I love about Wayne is Wayne's a racer. He understands the teams. He understands the good and the bad challenges that everybody goes through. I think he's extremely fair when it comes to looking at things kind of through the glass window of what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, right? We have a set of rule books, but I think at the same time, Wayne's the guy that he is very I don't know the right word for it. He's just that guy that he's his open door policy. You come in and discuss things, and he's very calculated in what he does. And I just feel like, I guess my biggest takeaway is when he's gone, that's a big hole. Whoever steps into that role or fills kind of the plethora of roles that will end up needing to be filled, right, has big shoes to fill. And Wayne is somebody that I look up to a lot. I'm proud to have raced under Wayne, and I'm sad to watch him go. But I've been on him. I told him, I said, my only goal for this year is to make sure that you have to be front and center at the banquet, right? And I want to be able to call him up on stage and be a champion and call him up there, right? I almost thought I wasn't even going to have a shot to go to the top 8 to do that, but that's my goal. Is I'd love to be able to embarrass him a little bit on the stage after winning a championship, because it'd be pretty special.
We'll go to Dustin around this side.
Just let me know, Casey, with how the last couple of months have gone and not knowing if you're going to advance or not, like, what is the mindset now after escaping this last round?
Like I said earlier, I think it's given me the ability to look at things differently. Look, I love this sport and I love what I do, and I feel like we laugh a lot about experience and age and my gray hair, but I think sometimes just because you have experience and just because you have knowledge or whatever it is, it doesn't fix all of the problems, right? It doesn't make things go your way or not go your way. It doesn't make you immune to making mistakes. I mean, I've made plenty of those mistakes in the last 5-6 weeks. Where I think the difference for me becomes is, okay, how do you rebound? How do you just say, okay, we're done, this is the bleeding has gone on long enough. How do we start over? You know, I look at the last couple of weeks, and man, not only has the race been bad, but like you just look at the world as a whole, right? There's a lot of things going on that take far more precedence than what we're doing on the racetrack. And I've had lots of friends and family that have gone and donated time or money to what's been going on to those that have been suffering. And how do you work on yourself to rebound and dig yourself out of the trenches when you're watching these folks lose everything and like you're trying to be positive, and we're an entertainment sport, right? We want to go out there and put on the best race we can, but you also still have to think about that in the back of your mind. And I know the competitive side of me doesn't know that, right? Like the competitive side of you just knows we got another race and another race and another race, and you just got to go. But I think that, you know, this last 2 months have really given me a lot of time to reflect and really focus on what's important. And this reset was just like icing on the cake, right? It's just, I feel like I come into Vegas a lot more. I went into Charlotte actually really relaxed. This is gonna sound really dumb, but you know, we Talladega, we're sitting there and we didn't know that the penalty for the one yet was gonna happen, but we're sitting there and we're looking at the jumbotron, and at the time I was 18 points out, and Jim had been like doom and gloom, right? Because we'd been so bad and it just hadn't gone our way. And he started chuckling, and he said, I can't even be mad because it's so bad that like I can't even be upset right now. And I said, don't laugh. And I said, you know, and so then we walked away, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I can't help but be funny. And we went into Charlotte with a different mentality, and I think that we just executed. And I think we come here to Vegas, as long as we execute, it's going to be tough to beat the 17.
All right. Any other questions? We'll go to Kelly up front, and then we'll go back to Chris.
Kelly Kern of Racer.com. Justin, to follow up on what you're just talking about there about how bad it's been. There's been years where it's looked like this could be Justin Allgaier's year to win a championship. There's been years where maybe you weren't as dominant, but you were in contention. So given everything you just said about how much you guys have had to scratch and claw to get to this point, are you kind of hoping, you know what, maybe we're just going to take the long, hard one, and then this one will turn out the way that we hope it will?
You know, it's funny. Like I look at the DNFs and the crashes and like we have races that we finished that we finished Bristol, right? But it wasn't pretty. I mean, the thing was killed. I had to laugh though because Dale sat in the media center in Bristol and said he thought it was my best opportunity ever and all these things. And I'm like, I think you jinxed this, man. Cause like Bristol was bad, but it's been brutal. With that all being said, to come to Vegas, I have to laugh because to come to Vegas with the year that we've had and all the DNFs that we've had and still be the points leader, to still have 15 stage wins, and I don't know if that's still the record of whatever all-time stage wins in a year, whatever it is, but like it's pretty wild, right? When I step back and look at the year as a whole, I'm like, how did we not win 10 races and just absolutely be killing it right now? Because my team deserves that. As fast as race cars as we've brought to the racetrack every week. And I look back at things, going back to the mistakes that I've made, and I'm like, holy cow, like we have given away some points this year. But you know what? We got new life. We've put ourselves in this spot. You don't ever know the peaks without having the valleys. And you know, I think sometimes if everything's just flat and smooth, and you don't enjoy those big moments, you also have to get down in those deep valleys and dig through it. And I think that's where we're at. If we were to come out of this with a championship, it would be amazing. But I think at the same time, this year is proven that you can want it, you can work harder, you can do all the things that you want to do to be better. And if it's not in God's plan, it ain't going to happen. And sometimes you just got to accept that and figure out what that plan is and try to make the most of it.
Come back to Chris right here.
Justin, I know it has been announced, but is it all but assuming that you'll be back junior motorsports in 2025?
You can assume whatever you want to assume, Chris. We are working on that, yes. For me, I've said it 1,000 times. I love this race team. I love where I'm at. I love the people that I'm around. For Brant, this has been a great relationship for them. I mean, they've supported me now for too many years, to be honest with you, more than I deserve, truth be told. And we have so many great partners at our organization that do such an amazing job. So, yes, we're working on that. We're there's been a lot of other battles to get accomplished at our race team, and we're getting through all of that. So I think now that the dust has settled a little bit, we're able to focus on a little bit more and see what 2025 looks like.
Any further questions? Come up here to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Justin, with everything that you've accomplished, and certainly it's a remarkable career, anytime it gets close to this end of the season, the question's always asked to you about when are you going to win that championship. And I'm just curious, as an athlete who has done so much, to get that question year after year over or repeatedly, is that how you work through that? Or is it a case you've heard it so much you've got the response down, or is there a pain each time that is brought up because of something that, even for all the things that you've accomplished? I don't understand. I can't relate to what an athlete goes through in something like what your position.
Yeah, I mean, I know Denny's been very vocal about the questions, right? On his side for the Cup side. I think for me, I think back to the 5, 10, 12-year-old kid that was racing regionally in Central Illinois, and just being happy to show up at the racetrack and carry a helmet bag and call myself a race car driver. I don't think I could have ever have dreamed of having a career like I've had, right? I've met tons of great people. I've raced all over the world, been lucky enough to win a ton of races. Would that championship mean a lot? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anybody that tells you that it wouldn't mean anything is crazy. But at the same time, I also, I don't expect it. There's no part of this that is a guarantee. I mean, I had to laugh. Sheldon at Watkins Glen, they asked him about finishing second, right? And he's like, well, yeah, it's great, blah, blah, blah. He's like, but it's hard to watch somebody race for 3 hours in their NASCAR career and go win their first race, right, with Connor. And I had to laugh a little bit because I'm like, yeah, he's not wrong, right? There are champions in this sport that have come in and have won when they needed to and done the right things when they needed to. There's been people that have been in this sport for years that never won a championship. I mean, I think about Mark Martin's Cup career, right? Probably one of the people that I look up to the most in this sport because it never changed who he was. I mean, he obviously won Xfinity Series championships and won tons of races, but I mean, I don't know that I would say he regrets anything. I mean, there's the 1 year that he probably should have won the points, right, that he didn't. But when it's all said and done, I don't think he would ever regret any of that. I don't think that he looks back on it and goes, man, I had a terrible career because I didn't win a championship. No, he had a great career, and he's somebody that I look up to immensely. And I think for me, it's in the same boat, right? I'm going to keep doing this until I'm not able to do it anymore, or I'm not asked to come back, or I can't compete at a high level. But if that opportunity never presents itself, it's not going to be the difference of me considering my career a success or not. Love what I do. I'm proud to be here and have the opportunities that I have, and I'm just going to keep going for it. And
I know you talked this week, and you've talked in the past just about if there ever was a good opportunity at Cup, you'd like to be in a good opportunity. But obviously you were, and I think of an Elliott Sadler as well, that came down to the Xfinity Series and had a tremendous amount of success. And, it was for Elliott, it was like, hey, I want to go win races. I want to be competitive. I think you've said that as much. What has that meant, while maybe it isn't the Cup level, what you've done in this? I mean, because at some point you could have made a decision to have stayed in Cup and been with a lower funded team and just been 25th every week, as opposed to being asked all the time, when are you going to win a championship? That's a big difference.
Yeah, Corey LaJoy and I have actually had this conversation multiple times for the last number of years, right? Corey has been very vocal about that he feels like if he's not in the Cup Series, that he's not going to get those Cup opportunities, right? I've kind of looked at it the opposite way. I mean, Elliott was that same way. We've seen it time and time again. I mean, Cole Custer having the opportunity to come down, win a championship last year, have an opportunity to go back Cup racing again next year, right? Yeah, do I feel like I could still compete? I mean, probably the best and worst thing that's ever happened to me is running the 5-car at Charlotte this year, right? Because amazing experience, great people, obviously Kyle's had the most success in the last 5 years of anybody that I know. But I look at like that experience and to kind of have the reins put on at the start of the race and to be mindful of not crashing the car, and then finally at the end of the race, they're like, okay, go, and you're able to drive up through there, and we unlapped ourselves at one point, like in a small way. That was me smiling from ear to ear because I'm like, all right, cool, I can run the speed that these guys can run, and I can do this. If you're in the right car, you got the right people around you, and everything works out, like, yeah, I can still go do this. But on the other side of it, I know that it's not that easy. There aren't. Do I think that I could take a Jim Pullman and a group like I have around me in the 7 team and have an opportunity to go cup racing and find success with a little bit of time? Yeah, I think so. I think I have the right group of people around me. But it takes years. It takes time. It takes multiple starts to be able to go to the Cup Series and to get everything figured out. And I mean, Cliff, I think, said a couple weeks ago that their biggest opponent in the playoffs was themselves. Not that they feel like they're that much better than everybody else, but like they have bad days and they're their biggest opponent, and it's so true. So I don't know. I think the Cup Series is extremely difficult. There are teams and drivers that are significantly more talented than myself will ever be that can go out there week in and week out and never have opportunity to win races or never have opportunity to win championships. I have that here. Personally, I can go home at night, I get in my bed and I lay my head down on the pillow and I sleep really well knowing that I have a great group and I have a great opportunity to go be competitive week in and week out. When I ran the Cup Series and we didn't have that opportunity, it put me in a space that I didn't want to be at mentally. It's really easy to question yourself, question the people around you. Even when I knew I had all the right people around me, the circumstances weren't there, and you start, you ruin relationships when you're not running good. And when I walk away from the sport, I'm gonna have a ton of great friends that I'm gonna enjoy getting old and gray with, and spending time away from the racetrack at some point and enjoying that. And so I feel like for me, that's what's made this Xfinity Series what it is and made it so much fun. And yes, I still want to go cup racing. Selfishly, nobody would never want to go compete on the cup side, but it's hard for me to want to go over there and just do it just to show up and make laps.